Good afternoon, students. Today in this video we are going to cover the poem The Shed. It is the third poem of the book Honeycomb, written by Frank Flynn. The poem is about the shed, which is a small room away from the main house. It is located at the bottom of the poet's garden. His elder brother, threatens him by saying that a ghost stays in the shed who hides himself under the rotten floorboards, who may jump and attack on the poet if he dares to move in the shed. But children, you don't afraid of reading the poem. In fact, there is no ghost inside the shed. So children, it's a narrative poem in which a child narrates the poem. He is the speaker in the poem. Before we read the poem, do you know what a shed is? A cow shed, a tool shed, a wood shed, for example. It's a small room away from the main house for storing, keeping things, animals, tools, vehicles. Okay, now let's go through the poem stanza by stanza. There is a shed at the bottom of our garden with a spider's web hanging across the door. The hinges are rusty and creak in the wind. When I am in bed, I lie and I listen. I will open that door one day. So children, first of all, take the meanings of the words from the stanza. Bottom means the lowest part of anything. Hinges means joints of doors and windows which make them swing or open or close easily. Rusty means when metal, particularly an iron object, decays. It gets affected by rust. That is called rusty. And creak means to make a high noise caused by wooden or metallic material. Now the meaning of the stanza. The poet in these lines is describing a shed that is at the bottom of his garden. And at the bottom of the garden there is a shed. Hardly anybody goes inside the shed. Therefore the hinges or the door joints have become rusty and make a lot of noise whenever the wind blows or makes these hinges move. They make lot of sound. When the poet is peacefully lying on the bed, he sometimes hears noises from the shed. The poet wishes to be able to open the door of the shed someday, but not yet. Okay. Now the next paragraph. There's dusty old window around at the side with 3 cracked panes of glass. I often think there's someone staring at me. Each time that I pass, I will peep through that window one day. Meaning of dusty means covered with dust. Cracked means broken. Often means frequently. Peep means look. Now the meaning of the stanza. In these lines, the poet discusses how he wishes to stare inside the shed. How he will be able to look inside the shed one day. The shed has a dusty old window on its side which is broken. How are the windows? They are broken. Its panes are broken. Okay. Whenever the poet passes through the shed, he gets the feeling as if someone was staring at him to find out him. Okay, him or whatever the thing who stares at him, he just wants to find him out. The poet wishes to peep inside the shed one day. Now the stanza third. My brother says there's a ghost in the shed who hides under the rotten floorboards, and if I ever dare to set foot inside, he will jump out and chop off my head. but I will take a peek one day. Meaning of rotten means not fresh enough to use or stale. Floorboards mean long wooden boards to be laid on the floor. The next word is courage means dare means courage. Chop off means cut off. Peek means look quickly. Now the explanation of the paragraph. Here in this stanza, the poet discusses how his brother threatens him or warns him about the ghost inside the shed so that he does not set his foot inside the shed. So what is the reason being? Because his elder brother wants to keep the shed for himself, so that's why he threats the poet. Okay. Now the meaning of the paragraph. The poet's brother talks about the presence of the ghost inside the shed and always warns the poet that if he went inside the shed, the ghost would chop off his head. Means cut off his head. Whose head? Poet's head. Okay. However, this does not much frighten the poet. He still wished to move inside the shed one day. He would step inside the shed and see for himself what is inside the shed. Now the next and the last stanza. I know that there isn't really ghost. My brother tells lies to keep the shed for his den. There isn't anyone staring or making strange noises, and the spider has been gone from his web. Since I don't know when, I will go into that shed one day soon, but not just yet. Staring means looking at something quickly and secretly. Okay, now in this paragraph, in these lines, the poet seems to have grown enough to understand the truth, understand the fact. Okay, now he is a grown up. The poet is able to overcome his fears now. He is able to understand that there is no ghost inside the shed. Now he understands there is actually nobody inside the shed who stares at him or makes those strange noises. The spider too is no longer there. It has also gone. His brother had been telling him lies because he wanted to retain the shed for his own self, own use. Therefore, very soon the poet would be able to set his foot inside the shed. However, he says that this can't happen immediately, but it will definitely happen one day. So that's all about the poem, The Shed. Thank you so much.